So, in this guest speaker episode, we're talking about meal planning. We're talking about using crock pots. We're talking about making meals easier. And we have an amazing guest, Rachel Fairchild, with us. And she was actually on the podcast way early on. One of the first episodes you'll see was with Rachel Fairchild. And we talked freezer cooking, predominantly freezer cooking in that one. This one is just a whole lot of things. But what I'm sharing on this episode is in our most recent Simplify Your Summer online summit, Rachel was one of our speakers. Along with our summits, we always have a Q&A. And many of the speakers come for the Q&A. And so this was an act, and there are so many golden nuggets of wisdom that happen in these Q&As. And so I actually wanted to share this Q&A with Rachel with you. If meals are at all a struggle for you, this is going to be a fun conversation between Rachel and I, where we are also interacting with summit guests. There's just a lot of really good information in here if meals are at all a struggle. So make sure you tune in if you need some help with meals. Well, hey there. I am Jennifer Roskamp, a certified life coach and homeschool mom of 9 who is passionate about helping women just like you embrace the here and now while also being focused on creating the life you actually want. In reality, it's not about thinking life will get so much better or so much easier when you fill in the blank. Let's work on creating a life you love now. So let's dive in and get started on redefining Supermom to be someone who is present, intentional, and content rather than perfect in our homes, in our lives, and in our own skin. Let's get started. This is the Intentional Mom Podcast. Well, we're glad that you're here. Okay, so someone said, Lisa said, I love the Sunday meal planning idea. I tried it in the middle of the week, but I always feel rushed to get it done. Any suggestions for crock pot meals? I use mine all year long.
Yeah, I mean, crock pots are the best, right? That's so if you don't want to do, I primarily do like the freezer prep stuff where I'm prepping a little further ahead. But if you want to do weekly prep, it is so easy. I would get all your crock pot stuff together on Sunday, and even you can even dump it in bags and get all the ingredients in bags and just put it in your fridge. It's not gonna go bad. The only thing I would be concerned about is maybe some veggies. Like, you know how when you cut potatoes and you put them in the fridge, sometimes they go a little black. And nothing wrong with that, but it's not appealing, right? So kind of be careful with what you're doing it with. But you can get everything together at least ahead of time as much as you can so that you can just like jump and go in your crock pot. That will make things a lot easier the like throughout your week so that you can just like, oh, I have all this stuff right here. I'm gonna grab it, I'm gonna throw it in and be done.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite crock pot? Like, do you have some go-to simple crock pot, like especially for summer? Do you have a couple like
For last.
dump and throw it in the crock pot ideas?
Yeah, especially one, and I think I probably talked about this. Maybe I can't remember we talked about it in the presentation or not. It's funny, God, I didn't make it. I have like a bourbon chicken recipe that my kids will eat no matter what all year long, and it's my like go-to like to just eat something on the table for dinner type recipe. And so that one is so easy, and they just like go on, and I think it's part of the thing that I put for the VIP pass. It's in that interval at recipes of it because it's amazing. And of course, there's like, especially in the summer, I don't know about you guys, but I'll do a ton of like hot pot meals. Like you're not doing your soups and your stews. And I'll do pastas and stuff like that, obviously. So I usually do like pastas where I'll make my basic meat and then have it with like just a fresh vegetable or something like that. Just because that's kind of what we want more of in the summer. We don't really do a ton of like really heavy large meals in the summer. That's always been my household. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. So I was sharing that I use my crock pot to sometimes make something earlier in the day and just throw it on the keep warm setting. And then it'll allow me to, like, I gave the example of like homemade macaroni and cheese or Alfredo. Those are one of our go-tos. It's just a
Yes.
pasta dish like that. So if you make it early in the day and put it in your refrigerator and then haul it out and reheat it, it has that leftover feel to it. But I find that if I use a little bit of cooking spray on the inside of my crock pot and put it in there with a little bit of extra liquid sometimes, depending on what it is, and
Yeah.
then put it on keep warm throughout the day, it really gives it that freshly made kind of thing without getting dried out. Sometimes you might have to add a little bit when you're, going ready to serve it. Like if you didn't get quite enough milk in there or something, but for the most part,
Yeah.
it works really well. Jennifer said, even mine on keep warm will almost sometimes keep my stuff boiling. Here's how I manage that, because there are some times where, depending on what I'm making, it gets too dry out. A lot of times I'll make it, put it in my crock pot, cover it, and not turn it on or anything for a while, right? Like it can just kind of stay there. So then though, here's the key is I will set an alarm or a timer so I don't forget to go back and plug it in to turn it on.
Yeah.
Most things can sit for like a couple of hours without concern, and then turn it on, keep warm. And there's even been times, because Alfredo sauce can be a little bit that way sometimes. Here's kind of how I do that is, like I said, 2 hours. I'll set my timer. I'll plug it in for 2 hours. I'll put it on keep warm for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Then I'll unplug it again and just kind of do that same sort of thing. As long as you're home, you can do that. But even just, I find letting it sit on your counter, and then, I mean, a lot of the crock pots these days even have timer features. I have an old fashioned one. Mine doesn't have that. But even if you alternate between the keep warm setting and just letting it sit there with the top on, and the keep warm setting and the just letting it sit there with the top on, can help. Hopefully, I don't know if you find that helpful, Jennifer, but sometimes I have to do that with a little bit more of the finicky sauces, I guess I will say.
Especially where Alfredo like separates himself sometimes. It's really Alfredo is finicky.
Yeah. And I have also like a crock pot. So I'll make it in my crock pot or my Instant Pot oatmeal. And relatively calls to do it overnight. But I have found that it just kind of, my kids don't like it when it's quite so mushy. So same thing, I have found where I will get it, but I like the overnight idea, right? I like having breakfast ready for the morning. So again, it's kind of like, how can I make this actually work? Like I want to make this work. How can I make it work? So I'll get everything together in my crock pot, just like I normally would. Everything's ready to go. Stick it in my refrigerator. And then as soon as I get up, so my recipe would say, put it on low for, I think, 4 hours. So I'll get everything ready, stick in the crock pot, put the crock in the refrigerator, pull it out in the morning, cook it on high for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it's the perfect consistency. I'm always, that goes to say, and I'm sure that Rachel would agree, there's a lot we can do with recipes written as is to change them in such a way that they work for us.
Yes, I'm a biggest proponent. I tell people, and then even people who buy my recipes all the time, I'm like, change them for however it fits your needs, because it doesn't serve you if you're trying to make it work for your family. And it's just like, if you don't like this ingredient, throw it out. Because it's fine.
I was just going to ask you that. I was going to say, in most cases, I feel like there's, vegetables you can swap out one for the other. Like if we're being specifically like crock pot or Instant Pot meals, right? Usually there's just one pot base. So a lot of times you can swap out one vegetable for another, leave one of them out, double up on one of the other. So much we can do to modify. Do we need to, here's a question. Are there certain things we need to be afraid of when it comes to like substituting or throwing things out?
I would say specifically, I would say in a crock pot, I don't really worry about my crock pot too terribly much, because it all fits about the same in there. Now, in Instant Pot, though, there are some very variable cooking times for things in Instant Pots. Just because of the nature of that, I would say to double check, like if you had like the recipe calls for carrots, and instead you're like, well, I have this pepper. Well, a pepper is going to cook in a minute in an Instant Pot, whereas carrots can go for 20, 30, and they'll be okay. So you just need to be careful about choosing similar types, like root vegetables for root vegetables type deal, or something like that. Or if you want to throw in that more tender vegetable at the end, you can totally open up your Instant Pot, throw it in, close it again for just like 5 minutes, and usually that cooks it enough that it's okay.
Yeah, I like that too. How it's like you don't have like you say, if you want to have very like consistencies out of vegetables, where some of them are going to cook faster than others. Like it is okay to open up the Instant Pot or the crock pot to add stuff in, right? Like sometimes that freaks me out. We're like, oh, is this gonna mess up the whole thing?
No, we do. I do a lot of that in an Instant Pot because there's a lot of things that you just shouldn't throw in an Instant Pot too early, especially because if they get a burn notice. And like that's the worst. That's the most annoying thing you get with an Instant Pot. And so like cheesy, creamy things, I almost always add those at the end. I'll open it and mix it in after, and then maybe give it like let it sit on saute for just a minute. And that's enough to finish it off, and it's fine. Even, like, if you were gonna throw shrimp into a recipe, shrimp in the Instant Pot maybe takes a minute. Like, it's so short. So you don't wanna cook in everything else for 3 minutes and then have your shrimp be overdone. Like, there's so many things you can just throw in at the end, mix it in, and you don't even have to reseal it, or if you do wanna reseal it and repressurize it, it'll take it's nothing like trying to go from 0 pressure to it usually only takes a couple minutes. It's so fast, like, it's worth it for sure.
So I don't know how much you know about this, but you mentioned the burn notice. It is super frustrating to me.
Yeah.
I don't d I guess my question number 1 is my Instant Pot is starting to get a little bit older. Does it get more sensitive over time? And or what causes it and how do we not have that happen? Do you have any wisdom to share? Because I tell you, I am to the point where I go for my crock pot more than I do my Instant Pot now, even though I prefer my Instant Pot and the flavors that I get with that because of that burn notice. I seem to get it
Yes.
now more than ever.
Specifically, like, creamy, cheesy things, I never put in my Instant Pot now. I used to, and sometimes I could get it right, but it seems to burn more than you want it to. So anything creamy or cheesy, I usually leave until the end and then I mix it in. Um, I always spray oil at this point because that seems to help. If you're doing starches, like anything like rice, pasta, anything like that with a meat, well, it's the meat at the bottom and the rice or the pasta at the top because that the meat is not going to burn nearly as fast as your pasta and stuff. That pasta and stuff will go quick. And then two, like once you get that burn notice, so it'll keep coming. It will because it just detects that the leftover stuff at the bottom. Yeah, and it just does not. So at that point, I would highly encourage you to hit that saute button and finish it up because otherwise, it's gonna get overdone and like it just doesn't end up well. You can also try what's called the pot and pot method for Instant Pots, where you literally put another like container inside of your Instant Pot so that it's not on the bottom at all. Yeah. And you can do what they just need to be like something that's like oven safe or silicone or something. And that's when you use your trivet too, so that it's not sitting on the bottom.
Oh, so for instance, I have a 6-quart Instant Pot and I have a 5-quart. So I could put the pan from the 5-quart right in there, do you
I don't know. That would make me nervous because of how similar in size. I was already my and it's stuck. Done that before.
have you?
Yes. And it's a because I have 2 Instant Pots that are actually the same size, but they're 2 slightly different variations. And one, if you put it inside of the other, it's almost impossible to get it out. It is not good. But so if you have like a glass bowl that or like even like a metal bowl, you can go inside of it and sit on like your trivet thing that goes in it. But like put at the bottom so it can't come with pressure. And then you put whatever you need. And so I'll do it a lot with like I'll put meat, like if I'm doing I'll put my bourbon chicken recipe on the bottom and I'll sit the rice on top of it inside of another container to cook it at the same time. Now that there does need to be some tweaky like things with the time to actually cook it because it cooks a tiny bit different, but most of the time it works out really well. But that at least gets things off the bottom. I will say, depending on how old your Instant Pot is, the heating element in the bottom of them can get a little wonky. My husband actually ordered like these little fuse that had to replace a fuse on my oldest one off Amazon. He just ordered the fuses and like I don't know. He knows what he's doing. I would have never. I would have just ordered the new Instant Pot. But he fixed it and now it works great. But yeah, they do like tend to get glitchy. And I will say too, what is the new one? The Instant Pot Rio. Look, I love Instant Pots. But the Instant Pot Rio, I'm pretty positive is the name of it. Is I can never get that one to work for me ever now. I don't know about that one at all. I've had people buy them and try my recipes, and I have one and try my own recipes that are with all of the 4 other I have 4 different instant pots. Like, I have a ton. Literally just every single one of those, and then that one, nothing. as a minute. Yeah. It's very weird. I don't know what they did with that one. Yeah, I actively tell people, yeah, post about it because it is not a
Well, so make chicken. Tell us that recipe really quick. How does that one work?
okay. So it's chicken thighs. It's boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And of course, I made this recipe. Like this has been my husband and trying to for years. It was years ago when chicken thighs were so much cheaper, and so it was a really budget friendly recipe. Now chicken thighs are more expensive than a chicken breast. Can you believe that? It's
How do you really?
at my grocery, it is, and it is the craziest thing in the world to me. And stuff that I could buy. They just chicken 30 years ago. It really do for us. But yeah, I use it. I like to use chicken breast.
Would you use chicken breast?
Oh yeah, you totally can. Well, I just like chicken thighs just don't dry out as easily. That's really that's my preference thing there. And if you want it to take the goal is for it to get it to taste like the mall urban chicken because that stuff's amazing. And they use chicken thighs usually. So chicken thighs, and then I actually don't use any bourbon in it because we don't drink in my household and never have bourbon in my house. Sorry, it's apple juice. Okay. Yeah. And it's got like brown sugar, ginger, and the creams and onions, garlic powder. I should really have a heart right now, but most of the time I prep it in like big batches,
Oh yeah.
throw it on bags, and then we pull them. And yeah.
Yeah.
And so really, it's just like chicken in the sauce, and it works out really well.
And will do you just eat it with like the rice or the something on the side?
Usually we do rice, or I'll pull out some veggies if I don't have time to like throw rice in my other instant pot because I'm solely an instant pot rice person. I'm durable at cooking rice.
Yeah. I actually that's something I can cook, which is interesting. Because it's complicated, I can't.
Yeah. I mean, rice is just one thing that's why I bought my instant pot too. It's so bad for me. I have 13 my days.
Jennifer has a 14-in-1 Ninja. Ooh, that intimidates me thinking about that. But
it's like the Ninja Foodies or whatever. They're about like an instant pot because if you think about all the things that you can do with an instant pot, all this stuff, it's about, and as long as the Ninjas have a pressure remote, I'll change you. My sister had the Ninja and she cooks all of my recipes with it just fine. So I feel like the Ninja is super interchangeable with the instant pot.
yeah.
Yeah.
He said, thanks for all the great ideas and freezer meal cheat sheet. Super helpful. I especially appreciate the suggested adjustment or substitution ideas. I'm often needing to change a recipe for various reasons. Ooh, it sounds like you guys should make sure you check out Rachel's freebie.
Yes, I know. I have, like in my household, we have food allergies and we have like sensory, like processing stuff that I have to pay attention to. So changing recipes for me is like breathing. So yeah, I totally understand. We change recipes all the time, and it's so needed to have those easy substitutions for sure.
Yeah. Jennifer said, Instant Pot air fryer. I can do yogurt and bread. All kinds of, oh, wow, bread?
My air fryer top, yeah. I'm trying to make bread in my room for, but mine used to was bad, so it didn't work. But yeah, the air fryer thing. I have one of those, and it's one of my favorite.
Huh.
You can like broil your meat at the end, like you fix the little thing and then you broil it. It's great.
She said, I don't even have to change the tops on mine.
Yeah, that's new. She's got a newer one than me.
What is it? It does all these things. And used to be you would swap out the top, but now
Yeah. Now they have it, I think, where it's like if you don't have to do that anymore. Me, I have to switch tops because the top has like the air fryer portion in it, like has down on it. It's pretty cool, I will say.
I would be interested to, does the bread taste like phenomenal? I mean, like, is it different than regular bread?
I don't think it's any different than regular, but it's nice to use it. You can proof it in there quicker, and then you can and then you make it in there, and it's just all in one.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Kitty said, I have 4 crock pots of different sizes, a new wave countertop oven, use a lot in summer. Yeah, Kitty lives in Texas. I just bought a small air fryer, learning to use it.
There.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of learning, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. Air fryers, they are a little bit of a learning curve for sure. I use mine more for individual ingredients more than a whole meal because they're just not big enough as but man, I love sweet potatoes, especially for me. I like that's at the sweet potato, but in there's 9 minutes. Like you can't beat that.
Yeah. I have a big air fryer. It's one of those big countertop ones, and I will do turkey breast for Thanksgiving. in that.
Oh, that's nice.
So it has to be, it's not going to fit a turkey, right? So it has to be the breast, which my family prefers white meat anyway. Everybody was skeptical, right? The first time I did it the first year, where they're like, "You're not putting this in the oven?" And I'm like, "No." And totally skeptical, but now it's like the only way they want me to make it.
Mhm.
So I can do rotisserie chicken in mine. Mine does have that feature, but it's a little,
Mine has that too. I do have one big enough to do a rotisserie chicken. Haven't done it because honestly, the ones in the store are just so easy to get. Yeah. But I have done like wings where it like spins, then there's a panicle that's basket and it does wings in there.
ooh, I'll have to try that. I haven't tried that, but we do wings, and I usually just stick them in the oven. But I had forgotten I had only used that basket for like vegetables, but just hearing you say it, I'm like, oh, that's right. I could do that in there. I bet that would be good.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me that he does, and some family friend, he was like, I need my wings, I heat them up in the microwave so that they heat it up real quick. And the microwave in that air for like just a couple of minutes, crisp them up, and then it's done. I was like, that's the most genius thing I never heard.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. I think it's cool how all of this is so versatile. I'm more simple, less gadgets oriented, just my oven, stovetop, crock pot, but this is adjustable for all of it and more. Yeah. Mine doesn't have all those bells and whistles. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can get them with all the bells and whistles, sounds like.
it can. It's crazy.
Thanks, Rachel. See you.
Thank you.